to Unapologetically Asian, the place where we talk about navigating through adulthood as Asian Australians. Today you're joined by Tiana,
Catherine,
Lilly,
Michael,
Eugene,
and me, Jubs.
Okay, well, guys, it's taken us a few takes to get to this point.
I'm so sorry. Thank you so much for having us.
But clap them in, everyone. We've got the No Sleep Entertainment crew. Clap them in. Clap them in. Clap yourselves in.
Clap yourself in. You gotta clap into the microphone.
Welcome, guys. Thanks for making the road trip. Appreciate it. Before we start off, I thought let's break the ice a little bit. Let's kind of get a bit deep. So my first question to you guys, can you find love at a rave? Who wants to start off?
I think Justin should start.
I agree. I think Justin's got this one in the bag.
I think I love love personally. Love is a beautiful thing. You can find it anywhere, but especially, at a rave, at a club, you're likely to bump into someone that's like-minded, so absolutely.
Are you speaking from experience?
Sometimes maybe yes, sometimes maybe no.
Anyone else have a take?
I mean, I think that's the whole point of the whole industry. It's like meeting people, doing what you love, partying. And then when you find people that are like-minded and, you guys share a similar interest in the song, it's just easier to, I guess, connect on the night. Obviously, after you wake up the next morning, then it could be a different case. But I guess, that's one of the good things about our event and our industry. Like, you can honestly go there and find love for one night. Oh, unless you go EDC, then it's like 3 days. But then, obviously, that's dependent on who you go with and what you guys do. Yeah. No sleep on top, baby.
You broke the fourth wall with that wink there.
Ryan Reynolds, this one's for you.
Girls?
well, it seems like it's a yes. You can find love anywhere.
I've got a lot of friends who have definitely met their significant others at a club or from an event, and they're still happily together today. So I think we know quite a few people like that. So yeah, definitely.
So whoever's listening to this, it's their first time going to an event. They don't know how to muzz. What are you telling them? How are you teaching them?
I would instruct them to go over to Michael Dong and watch him quite closely.
She's being apologetic. I think you should try being unapologetic and just give us a muzz.
I'll give Lilly a chop out. Only one of us here has a video that's viral on MCAS, which is the Muzzing Chopping Appreciation Society. It's Michael. So
If you need to learn how to muzz, make sure to hop on TikTok, Dave Raves. He's got tutorials, 101 tricks. He's going to be preparing you for knockout with all the newest, latest moves. So throw him a follow, have a salsa, and check out his content. He'll teach you how to muzz and get all those LGs and LBs. September 30th.
Okay, well, I feel like the ice is well and truly broken now. What is your role in No Sleep, and what do you do other than No Sleep? Because it's your passion project, it's your side hustle. So who wants to kick off?
I nominate Eugene Chang because yesterday he was on the morning show, so he's done this recently.
So thanks for having me on the show. And I clean shoes. And no sleep as well. So
You clean No Sleep as well?
Yeah. I clean whatever needs cleaning. Whatever needs to get done, I'll get it done.
Yeah, okay. A glorified maid, one might say.
That's it.
Okay.
I founded the Sneaker Laundry, which is like Australia's first sneaker care company. Mm-hmm. We are now just Australia's sneaker care company. And I also part own the Key Club in the city. And also the Promenade Docklands with Lilly over there and the No Sleep crew. And then, No Sleep, we founded that, 4 or 5 years ago, something like that. It's been a while. 2019. That's 4 of the 6. The other 2 has been more boring, so I'll pass on. What I do in No Sleep? I just exist. It's like a full-time job, so I just exist. But I handle most of the DJ artist bookings and the venue bookings. I basically just do very sort of big picture, piecing pieces together to sort of make sure we have the concepts and the parties to keep throwing. Yeah.
Beautiful. Who are you going to throw to?
I would like to throw it to Michael. I'm very, very excited to hear what Michael has to say.
Eugene's role is basically what he said. I basically...
Thank you for clarifying, Michael. As I said before we started recording, thank God he's here. He just provides a lot of info for us. Thank you.
That's the type of guy I am. And you can bet on our events like that too. We got you covered. So my role in No Sleep is mainly Eugene, respect this. My voice is shaking because of this. I can say anything right now. It'd be crazy.
Just think of everyone naked.
So my role, how should I say this in the most pleasant way?
I get so
Okay.
nervous every time you speak sometimes.
Anything I say could be a bomb right now. 3, 2, 1, bam. I think my role has changed significantly ever since I joined the company, if I'm being completely real, breaking down all walls here. So Eugene founded our entire team in my last year of being president of ASEAN, which is like a university club. And naturally, in my final term, I was going to basically be saying goodbye to all these networks I made in the events industry, like the venues, the promoters, the acts. And then I low-key wanted to still be a part of the industry in some way. So what we decided to do was we formed a group of people with like-minded, I guess, aspirations to be and break through the event industry, like kind of be like disruptors. And then my role at the start was to mainly just form teams and work very heavily in the sales point aside. But moving forward, ever since I guess we moved away from the weekly scene, I've taken more of a higher responsibility role in regards to artist management and basically looking after the no sleep agency side of the business. Basically what I do is I recruit and I find upcoming talent within local scene and international. I liaison with my team and we try to create an event to help create a platform for them to kind of build their brand, some awareness and get some following from the local scene. Just one thing we see as a whole team right now, I think the scene, especially the hardstyle scene, is too focused on bringing international talent into the scene in Australia, that they're not really investing time and money to create like a local platform to empower local artists, people who want to get into graphics or do media. It's very hard to break into the industry now because all the other brands, they kind of just want to keep bringing what's popping overseas, but they don't put time and effort into the local scene. So hopefully by working with my team, finding all you guys out there trying to make it who are keen to be involved in this industry, we'd like to help create better events, better experiences, and just try to move away from the bad stigma that events industry come along with. And yeah, I hope that get a bit of insight, but I'm gonna throw it to Catherine now.
Give us a call, 1300 Michael Duong.
No sleep on top, baby.
Guys, yeah, I'm very impressed.
I'm very impressed, yes.
That came out of nowhere.
I told them, I read the talking points.
I was practicing.
So I work in marketing. I work for a marketing agency, and I think those skill sets kind of pass on to No Sleep. So it's nice to get that background and kind of execute things from a marketing standpoint and a strategic standpoint in terms of all our social, all our campaigns. So coming into No Sleep, thanks to Eugene, he kind of roped me in. I door-girled for him for about 8 years, and then finally he gave me an opportunity. So it was a long time, to be honest. But yeah, very thankful for the opportunity and always willing to learn. I think it's really nice working with like-minded people. You definitely learn a lot. So it's a nice side hustle, if anything. Yeah. I'm going to pass this on to Jubs.
Hey guys, welcome back to my vlog. I'm Jubs. I joined No Sleep, like a year after A and ASEAN finished. I was just, hibernating.
For our our international listeners, what is AA and ASEAN? Because I think we know what it is.
We're sorority.
Practically.
Yeah.
Practically, yeah.
Yeah, it's like the
But explain
Australian.
it.
Yeah, it's like the Australian equivalent of sororities. So,
But for Asians, yeah?
but yeah, for Asians, AA stands for the Australasian Association, and they're based at Melbourne Uni. ASEAN and MCCC are based at Monash, and Ra's based at MIT. All of us pretty much came out of university clubs. Eugene's international, so he was in the Singapore club. And so, yeah, that's where I guess Asian high school kids kind of get to join a community of Asians where...
Uni kids.
Sorry. Oh, like when they leave high school, they become uni kids. They get to meet, like a lot of people that from back in the day, they would be like, in high school I never had Asian friends, and now all my friends are Asian. So it's pretty cool. But yeah, so a few of us used to be involved with that, those clubs. And after that finished, that's where I met Eugene. And a year out, I was hibernating, just doing my own thing. And he's like, hey man, do you want to start a nightclub? And I was like, yeah, right. And since then, Bob's your uncle. Here we are. And so in my day job, I work in corporate finance, doing M&A. And so in No Sleep, my role predominantly is financial focused. So doing a lot of the numbers, the budgeting, ticket pricing, working out whether we can afford certain acts for certain venues, etc. Also thinking about like the long-term plan, so the budget with that, working out where we're going to get to, and working very closely with Michael, just with the team management, tracking all of that data. Hell yeah.
Biggest promoting crew in Melbourne currently. Numbers are still increasing.
1300 Michael Dorr.
No sleep on top, baby.
And lucky last.
Lucky last. So my name's Lilly. I started No Sleep after the boys, so I'm very aware that, you know, Eugene went and was looking for his partners, and he'd formed a little boys club, and there were 4 of them, and he was like, oh, I think I need some diversity. I need to find a girl to join. That's what you said. I remember you telling me this.
It was like 6 hours. You said, make it sound like it was like a week. It was like 6 hours.
It was the same day. You asked like it was 6 hours later.
It was like 6 hours.
So 6 hours later. So I was initially a door girl at ilovernb as well, and I was there because we knew each other in uni, and Kat needed some help one night, and she's like, do you want to help door girl? And I was like, oh yeah, and like it's a good chance to catch up, and because we didn't see each other as much after uni, so that's how I initially started. And when Eugene asked me at first, I was like, what do you mean? I was like, never in my life have I ever thought about running a nightclub or joining the events industry in this degree. But at the same time, it was sort of a decision that he was like, you can go away and think about it if you want for a couple of days. But then I think it was like 5-10 minutes, and I was like, you know what, like, yeah, like let's give it a go. And here we are 4 years later. So 4 years later, Kat has obviously joined our team, which has been amazing. Shaz, who can't be with us here today, but Shaz joined our team as well.
Like me, sounded like she's dead.
No, she's feeling sick.
She's very much alive.
So Shaz has joined our team, which has been amazing. So my role over the last 4 years during No Sleep has mostly been, I would say, event operations side. So my work history is mostly in events. I was in weddings for like 5-6 years, and then like some not-for-profit events, marketing, things like that. So it made a lot of sense to work with venues quite closely and to do the ops side of things of all of our events. As of recently, I've actually taken a bit of a step back from No Sleep. So Shaz has come in and she's doing a lot more of what I used to do for the team. I've taken a bit of a step back because we run the Promenade. So that's my full-time. Our event's based down in Docklands. And then I think I mentioned this to you very briefly, Tiana, but it has gone through officially now. So and I've recently we've bought into Ronan Omakase, which has been at the Promenade Docklands as well. So we are opening a restaurant in 4 months' time. Fingers crossed, 4 months' time, which is really, really exciting. So that's what I do.
You bought a restaurant.
I bought a restaurant.
You said that so casually. You just bought a That's amazing. Well,
Thank you so much.
Yeah, it's so lovely to have you guys here and learn a bit about your backgrounds. It kind of sounds like, Eugene, you were like a bit of the mastermind. What did you see in these people? Because it sounds like they were your friends before they became your actual team now. You must have seen some potential in each of them.
I'll start with Catherine, obviously. She looks wonderful. It's her birthday today.
Happy birthday, Catherine.
It's Catherine's birthday.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
So the funny thing was, back when we started, when I had the idea, we said, let's form a new crew. All the crews out there for better part of 10, 20 years didn't have women in them. That's like the irony, right? It's a bunch of guys sitting around a table going, how can we throw these events better, right? How can we throw these events better to get more women to go into a club? That's irony, right? Because wherever the women go, the guys go. That's the truth of it. So then it's like, so you got a bunch of guys, and progressively we all get older. Like I'm old as now, and then we sit around a table going like, how can we get girls to go into a club? Why don't you get some girls on the team and ask the girls how to get the girls in a club, right? Like that's like, isn't it like the most like the and then obviously it's twofold. Then this is about really working with people that you feel like you might enjoy working with. Because the funny thing is that when you go down the path of just chasing money, no amount of money eventually will make up for the fact that you hate your job ever, right? Like if you hate a job, you hate your job. You hate the people you work with, that's just it. So you go down that path, and then you'll realize, you know what, I'd rather take less money to work with people I like. So the lesson from that is just the foundation of which is you build a team that you really feel that you can enjoy working with. And that's, you know, why we sort of piece this team together. It's just like reasonable people that we feel would align and could kick goals together. We made some big losses together too. I mean, but I think the beauty of it is when we make those big losses. Like we had this one event where it was like during COVID, the heart of COVID, and you know, Dan Andrews was like opening up events, and so everyone in the scene had COVID. Like literally everyone in the scene had COVID, and every day we had to refund more tickets than we could sell. So our event actually, for the first time ever, backpedaled, and we lost so much money for that event. And the funny thing is that like, if your crew can lose money together, when you make money together, it's just like all that much sweeter.
Oh my God, that is actually, guys, do you feel that? Do you feel that? I like what you're saying, because it's kind of like, it's the people, it's kind of like a relationship. You want to do it with someone or people that you see the best moments together, but then you also see, who do you want to see the worst moments together with? That's the crew that you want to surround yourself with. So
that's it, right?
I think we've been really, really lucky as a group. You know, there have been some changes since our group. We used to have Leon's left, and then like Kat and Shaz both joined as well. So, but even through these changes, like I think I can't really express how lucky I feel to have the partners I do in this team. You know, and even when I said to them that, hey guys, I need to take a step back, it was really hard, because I realized, you know, even though I need to refocus my time elsewhere, like I didn't really want to leave, because we've been doing Wednesday night meetings every Wednesday for the last 4.5 years. So in the first week I was like, I don't know what I'm doing with myself now. Like, you know, where's my team? It's so I think even though and like you mentioned, we started as friends, but not really. Like I wouldn't say that Jubs or Eugene were my friends when I first started, and I didn't know Michael.
I wouldn't say when I sort of like had this mental list of people that I would want to work with, we weren't like super close, and definitely not as close as we are now, right? Like, but I think ultimately, like I'd been in nightclubs before they were, so I was kind of like looking from afar. Kat obviously was working as our resident door bitch for a long time. Sorry, it's evolved. It used to be called a door bitch. That was like the requirement. Head door bitch.
Very nice door girl. Okay, I was very nice.
Well, I mean,
Definitely not Kat.
Yeah, so she was working as our mama son for a while, and then that sort of like evolved, just because she was like, mate, I'm part of the furniture, you know, like I've been here so long, you better fucking rub me on board.
So you asked for the opportunity, Kat?
I planted seeds, yes.
She said, why the fuck am I not a partner? And I said, oh look,
Planting
I apologize,
seeds.
I think that was oversight. Yeah, let me review that.
Okay, so what did you see in these in each of them? Like what did you see that, like what kind of potential did you see in them that you were like, okay, there's potential for, because you didn't sit down and interview them, did you?
No, I just sort of presented an opportunity on the basis that it was kind of like almost like a headhunt, like a 6-way headhunt, right? Like I said, Lilly said Leon was here, and he's no longer here, unfortunately. He's still alive. He just doesn't have the time, you know, like he's no longer here with us. He's no longer here with us, but he's still alive. Yeah. You know, so to begin with, like, you know, like I recently learned like I'm quite introverted. Michael here, man, he just can't sell ice to an Eskimo, right? Like, so he'll do anything, that a lot of stuff that we can't do. It's about building like a well-rounded team. You know, the girls make up for a lot of empathy I don't have, because I'm just like a cold person, right? Like, you know, so
Facts.
yeah. So, you know, hey man, it's fine as long as you know it's fine, right? So that, you know, that like it's about like you know, like Kat was always really heavy in marketing. She obviously also knew the ins and outs of nightlife, because she'd just seen so much of it just by existing within, you know, the previous club called ilovernb. And then Jubs was, you know, a lot of them come from university society background. So one of the big sort of like prerequisites I felt at the time was that you've got to be a very likable person. You've got to be very affable. You've got to be very known as well in the scene, because that's people. It's a very personal scene, and people, when you first start a business, it's all about like, I want to support this person because I like this person. Therefore, I like that brand. Therefore, I like, you know, and that's really where it's about. And if you pick likable people, you find that, well, it's very easy to work with likable people. And, you know, someone once told me like the 3 criteria to choose who you work with is they're affable, they're able, and they're available. So if you miss one of the 3, then it doesn't matter. So if you're available and really, really good at what you do, but you're just not a likable person, then it won't last very long. Likewise, if you pull one of the 3 out, it doesn't really work. So they kind of really ticked all the 3, and just, yeah, they're just very, very likable people, I guess.
Guys, do you feel good that Eugene's saying this about
Just
you guys?
milk all the compliments.
Yeah.
I'd say like another part of it is that like the whole like coming from uni clubs thing probably shaped us a lot. So in the uni clubs we run like wild parties, like boat parties, balls. Like me, Kat and Lilly ran the first ever like triple ball where we had like 3 different uni clubs together, things like that. And the thing about coming from uni clubs is that all of that is volunteer work. And so when you can work extensive hours, like in uni clubs, we're doing like 2 a.m. finishes, long meetings, things like that, planning events for people. When you turn into a business, you've already done all of this for 3 years without getting paid for it. And so it just becomes, I don't know, like easier to work together. There's less expectation, less ego. So that's probably another contributing factor, like why we get along so well and why we work so well together.
Yeah, nice. So we're all sitting in this room. We're all Asian here. We're all Asian Australian. I'm wondering about the conversations that you've had with your parents. Do they, or family members, parents, do they know the industry that you work in? I know this whole idea of partying and nightlife and raves and events and things like that. There is a negative stigma when it comes to the Asian culture. I know that it's not a monolith, so there are definitely families that embrace that. But for you guys, what's your experience with your families? Do they actually know what you do? And if they do, are they supportive of it?
Not for a really long time. So my parents, I would say my parents are pretty conservative. They are super, super supportive now. But at the start, you know, it took 4 years, for a really long time. Like they've never been to a nightclub before. They don't know what an event is. And we don't really talk about things like that at home. So it was kind of like, yeah, I'm working late today at the venue, and you just kind of keep it really, really vague. And I remember it honestly wasn't until we started the Promenade, which is a decently sized venue in Docklands. So my parents came down for the first time 2 months into us opening, and my mum walked through the doors and she realised, oh my God, you actually like have a job. She's like, this is really big. And she was really, really quiet that day. And I remember like the look on her face, and then they were like, you know, they didn't say much to me at all. But then since that day, she's stopped asking me if I have a job, which has been really nice.
I think a part of that though is that it's tangible, right? Like I think Asian parents, or parents in general, they like to, they want the best for us. They want us to have security, and they link like success with money, with stability, with security.
Is such a big thing.
And so because they couldn't actually visualize or see what you were talking about, but then the moment that she actually says, oh my gosh, you actually like own this, like that's amazing. That's like 100%. I guess when they like, okay, I can breathe a bit that she's going to be okay. Yeah.
Because when they first came to Australia, like many other immigrant parents, they had their own businesses, and it's like it's not easy. Like and I think everyone knows how hard it is. So the last thing that they wanted for their kids was to go into business. So every day it was like, so when are you going to a 9-to-5 job like your sister? Like, you know, when are you going to just work normal hours, things like that. So no, completely understand. Yeah.
For what it's worth, she said that she was very proud of you that day.
Oh.
I do remember that day as well, because like previously she'd given like, she'd be like, oh, my parents are like not very supportive, or like I remember during COVID as well, like we were running events and she was still going out running events. Her parents were like super paranoid about COVID. I
actually had to move out of my house during that time because my sister was about to have a baby, and then we were like deemed really high risk, which is, you know, it's true. So I actually had to move out during that time. My mum was like, I'm really sorry, we have to sacrifice you. You need to move out.
Yeah, so I still remember it was like quite a turning point, because I also had the same turning point, and it was quite cute as well. But like it was like when I first started, it was like my mum especially, I first started as a DJ, and I started DJing in Singapore, and that was because I had to do the army in Singapore as well. When I had come back to start uni again, I had already played in like 4 or 5 different countries in Asia. So I wasn't going to stop DJing anytime soon. So I would go to uni, I'd come home, have dinner, and then right before I leave the house to DJ, my mum would be like, "Where are you going?" I'm like, "Oh, I'm going to DJ." It was good money. I was getting, like $80 an hour as a DJ, and this is like 13 years ago, so or like maybe 10 years ago, maybe. There was, so she would look at me and say, "Oh, how much you get paid? I will pay you that much to stay at home."
Oh wow.
Yeah, and I remember getting.
My mum used to use that sentence on me too.
Same.
Yeah, they really did try to buy their own kids. Yeah, they, like yeah. Well, so I would actually go get and back then it was cashies. It's so you make a bit of money. Sorry, in case the ATO is watching, it was back then. And I would give her some cash because that's like part of the like you live in the house, you give her some cash, and the cash would be sticky. From drinks at the bar and stuff like that, right? So
Literally sticky.
come on, Tiana.
I just
apologize. Apologize.
What unapologetic here?
What are you thinking? Yeah, but what I give my mum sticky notes from what? From what, Tiana?
It's okay.
What would make
I
it
thought
sticky?
it was a metaphor or something. But we're talking literal, okay?
Oh,
Go on.
That's
Go on.
disgusting.
Go on.
So it was sticky from drinks at the bar.
Clarification, yep.
Yeah, and she would be so worried that it was from drugs. So I don't know what drug would make it sticky, but she'd call my auntie and be like, "Hey, Eugene gave me like some cash, and it's like it's sticky." Like
And
I think
his auntie would come over and like lick each one and be like, "No, this one's alcohol. This one's Coke."
Yeah, can confirm this is just alcohol. You're okay. And it was, my auntie would call me and just to make sure, "Hey, you're not involved in all." I'm like, "No, I just it's hard and cash, man. What do you mean?" But yeah, that sort of went on for quite a while until I started getting paid more as a DJ, and then I started organizing nights and started getting paid more, and she realized she couldn't afford to buy me out as a kid anymore, so that she kind of gave up after that. Yeah.
My parents are pretty chill, to be honest. Straight out of uni, I worked at the Big Four, so I was doing like corporate dog hours, like 8:30 a.m. to like 1 a.m. finishes, and so I told them I started a nightclub, and they're like, "Whatever, like as long as you like don't quit your job." And I'm like, "All right, cool." So I was doing like 60 hours a week, and then when work was like finishing at 10, that's when we would like meet up at Pancake Parlor and start talking about like our night and our vision and things like that.
Actually, Lilly and I caught up before we recorded, and yeah, the origin story behind No Sleep and the name. I think that's pretty interesting, actually. Do you want to kind of delve into that? So you mentioned Pancake Parlor.
We ate a lot of Pancake
We ate
Parlor.
so many pancakes.
We have eaten so much Pancake Parlor.
Actually, we were pretty stingy. We were like, get a table for 5, and we were like, 1 short stack, please.
I remember Jubs was on a diet, so Jubs would bring like a little, like I think we were doing keto maybe at the time, and then you're like, "Hey, I got my little tuna with no carbs or some shit."
And then we're going to the pancake parlor, like, "Can you microwave this for me?" Meetings would start at like 8 or 10 p.m. usually. The pancake parlor at Chatty. Mostly,
it's never once started at 8 o'clock.
Mostly because like I think I had a day job that worked till 8 really, so it was when it probably like, everyone was waiting. We'll all have dinner and things like that, and we'd meet up, and for a span of like 3 to 4 weeks, we'd meet up every day or every couple of days, and we'll just start talking about ideas and what our vision is and what we want to do and how we're going to build our team, how we're going to make our product a little bit different, things like that. And eventually we're like, okay, well, we have a deadline. The night has to start the Friday, like the following Friday, so we need to launch right now. And we're like, okay, cool. Before we launch, we need an ABN. We're like, okay, for an ABN, you need a name. What are we going to call ourselves? And we started like going through a list of names, and we're like...
At this point, it was like 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock, and 3 o'clock. The names are like getting worse and worse.
What are the name options?
I can't remember right now.
We'll call it like panda. We're going through all the Asian like animals like panda, dragon. We're like
Lucky cat.
Yeah. And then we're going through like 888, 88 something, whatever. And then we're just like, man, I'm so tired. I'm like, guys, I haven't slept in like 3 days.
Not 3 days, like 3 weeks.
3 weeks.
We've been there like,
how about like no sleep? And then we all laughed. We're like, haha. And we kept brainstorming, and we're like, no, actually, how about no sleep? And we're like...
So we added entertainment to make it more formal, more legit. And then I think it just reached a point where, like, look, guys, it's like almost 4 o'clock in the morning. We need to go home. We need to go sleep. And then that's how we settled on our name. But also at the time, we didn't really think too much of it or too far ahead. It was never like, oh, you know, we're going to build this into this, we're going to run these types of events. It was purely because we needed an ABN and needed to register a company name.
If you're craving a sweet treat or refreshing dessert, our longtime friends at Scoopy, Melbourne's favourite bingsu joint, are offering you lovely listeners a delicious 15% off your order when you use the code UA15. You can use this when you buy takeaway or in person at their Melbourne CBD and Gwen Waverley stores. The offer is subject to change, so be sure to tune into our episodes weekly for the fresh deal. Thanks so much, Scoopy. We appreciate y'all. What about you, Michael?
I think when I first got into events, it was easy for me because I already moved out. So I was living with my ex at the time. So I didn't have like an expectation to be home. My mum wasn't like breathing behind my neck. But 100% my mum was not happy that I told her I was going to go work in nightlife and run a nightclub. And that's what No Sleep essentially was back then. Like No Sleep was just the name we put as the ABN. The night we were actually working on the actual product, it was I Love, and was supposed to be the rebrand for ilovernb. But yeah, it was pretty rough the first 2-3 years. After I started, I guess, doing more operational stuff for the business, like help out Jubs with pay. Back then, we didn't really have like an automated process to do pays. Everything was done by hand, envelopes. I was like honestly spending weeknights looking at an Excel sheet that Jubs would make, and it would tell me, Michael, pay Eugene Yap $8 for coming on the night. And then I would like tick, and I'd do that every week. And then as my mum saw,
maybe not $8. Bro.
Oh yeah, well,
$8.
beat that out. Beat that out.
Like $80.
Yeah.
Okay, you guys have mentioned a few times we sound a little bit stingy, so that's all right.
$100.
No Sleep pays the best in the industry. Nah, so
You wanted to hear the origin story, Tiana.
yeah, this is
No
the origin.
judgment, it's safe space.
Yeah. I think for my mum, honestly, because the turning point was when she started seeing me do that repetitively every week, and then she sees the folder growing, and she goes, do you want help with that? And then I started getting my mum to help me do my promote pays every week, and that's how she helped me basically start I Love and do the pay. And she basically was killer at it. Like she would help me every week, and she's like full supporting her son to a hustle. So it's like truly unapologetically Asian right there. But basically, after my mum approved it, my brothers were also very against it as well. Because being the older brother, you're kind of supposed to be like the role model. So back then, I had my youngest brother at the time, and he was kind of like becoming like pretty, I guess, like the next big thing in the scene, like in the university uni club scene. And he was like, oh, you know, you should be like a better role model. Like, you know, don't you think it's responsible to run a nightclub when you just finish uni? And then at the time, I was like really passionate about just doing entrepreneurial business, because like being surrounded by so many people that actually work in their own business, and being surrounded by Eugene, it was like very inspirational to one day have my own business, work my own hours, be my own boss, grow myself, like, you know, doing what I love. And I definitely didn't want to be like one of those people that kind of like works in the rat race 9 to 5 for life. So it was just something I was always very passionate about, and I always like wanted to push that. I wanted to do something in this industry. And then after I started running bigger events and bigger raves, and people started talking about me, they started posting about our events, my brothers started like letting go and stop talking shit. And they were like, oh damn, like you run pretty big events. I'm like, yeah, you want to come? And then they start coming out on the nights, and then I start looking after them, giving them frees, drink cards and all the goodies. And yeah, ever since then, I think my family has been very supportive. They know this is what I want to do. After we signed like the promenade, and No Sleep also has a share in it, I invited my mum down to the grand opening. And when she came, she basically bailed on me. Like she flaked. She goes, no, I'm busy tonight. And I've been like trying to tell her about the grand opening for weeks. And then it's like months later, she's in the city. She goes, hey, Michael, can you pick me up? I'm finished working in the city. I'm like, yeah, come to the promenade. I'll drive you home. And when she came to the venue, we had an event on, and I introduced her to Lilly. I showed her the venue, and she was like, wow, this is cool. And like, I guess like as an Asian mom, she doesn't really know how to show emotions and feelings, because like she's an only mother, so she has to be the father and the mum. But I know deep down that she's like, fuck, my son made it, because I did. No sleep on top. And yeah, I think everyone in the crew has their own origin story, but at the end of the day, our family fully supports us, and that's why we're able to bring No Sleep to the brand it is today, and we're only going to get bigger and better. Yeah.
I mean, my experience is similar to Eugene and Lily's. My mum was willing to just pay me the money when I was doing Door Girl, but then I came up with a strategy to introduced Eugene to my mum and Lilly. So then kind of, I think for her, it was that sense of security, that trust. Who are you working with? I don't know them. You're coming home like 3, 4 a.m. in the morning. So it's just letting her trust the people I work with. So introducing the team to my mum. They've been over for dinner before. He was invited to my mum's birthday. They're Facebook friends as well.
Sure are.
It's a whole friendship really. And then I think she has always been very supportive of me wanting to be an entrepreneur, because she is as well. So she's actually wanting me to push more and more, because I share a lot. She's my best friend. I share a lot with her. She actually wanted to come to the nightclub as well. She's like, can you book me a table?
Her mum is really cool. Kat's mum is
I'm always
really,
trying to get her mum
really
down.
cool.
Like,
Yeah.
She should have been part of the podcast. I feel like the mums should have joined.
She's on the holidays, but she would have joined.
man, Michael's mum's
I
good
showed her
content.
clips from like our most recent event, Base Horizon, and she's like, can you bring me next time? And I'm like, I don't think you would like the music, but sure. And then, running my wedding at the Promenade as well, she was able to kind of see all the success that we've built together. So she has now developed that trust. But it did take some time. Being their only child, it took a bit of time.
Michael emceed Kat's wedding as well.
He did, yes. If you need an MC, he was really good.
I don't doubt that. He can talk. He can definitely.
It's a bit of a liability, though. I mean, if you're gonna,
I wrote
like,
him a script and everything, word for word. He didn't stick to the script.
He's like,
Michael has grown a lot over the last 4 years. His book days are behind him, and I think
Well done.
it's
Well done.
No, you.
your book days are behind you. Well
Everyone
done.
has a book day phase. You got to go through your own book phase.
I think you were the only one.
Anyone got a book?
I'm
No?
trying to give you a compliment, Michael.
Take the compliment. Self grown.
Thank you. I've grown.
we kind of mentioned it before about how Asian parents, it's this whole stigma, right? But this stigma, I think also it has extended out into like society in general. I don't know about you guys, but I know like if I go out, sometimes people are like, oh, you're going out at your age kind of thing. Like I think the older you get, there is this kind of negative association that people have with going to clubs, going to raves, that type of thing. And people don't understand that you can like work hard and play hard. That's probably why like we have terms like LG, and people get offended being called an LG because they're like, well, I don't want to be associated with that degenerate kind of stereotype, So what are your thoughts on that? Do you guys feel like that is something that that you've encountered, or is it not? Being close to the actual industry itself, do you not see that? What are your thoughts?
A lot of times as well, the older people that do cast judgment, I mean, they come from a time where like, they'll look at, the chick's ankles and get turned on by that. You know what I mean? Like that's where it's coming from, right? You know what I mean? And then now you're looking at girls that wear very little to a club. I mean, I personally think it's just impractical. It's just cold, right? But you got to wait in the line and it's cold. But it's just a nice way to put someone into a basket, really. Like, I mean, it's this chick. She's got long lashes. She's probably dyed her hair blonde. OG.
Yeah, like I've definitely like experienced people who like have a highly stigmatized like view on like clubbing and events and things like that. Some people like even like dating and things like that. People are like, oh look, I won't date you if you go clubbing a lot. Like that's my lifestyle. But I think the biggest thing with that, and being surrounded by so many people that go clubbing or go to events regularly, and seeing how a lot of these people are so like high functioning, like successful people. You just got to remember that like an example is that if you're on a diet, people are going to be like, why are you dieting for? What are you dieting for? And then if you get fat or you're eating junk food, they're like, oh, you should like watch your weight. And like what that shows is that no matter what you do, people are going to have an opinion. So who gives a shit? Like do what makes you happy, as long as your life is in check, as long as you know what you need to get in order is in order.
I think it's very easy to have these stereotypes because at the end of the day, with this type of industry, and you are going out all night, you are drinking most nights, I think it's really hard to remember that it is about balance sometimes, and it can be really hard to keep that balance up. And there were definitely periods of time over the last 4 years where I definitely feel like my balance slipped, and it's not that great waking up hungover for like many weekends in a row. So as much as it's like, work hard, play hard, it's really, I think you have to be quite conscious about that and to maintain that balance. I think another part of it is in Australia, like it's not that common for people to go out all the time and work really hard as well. But if you talk to anyone who lives in like New York or like lives in the UK and stuff, it doesn't matter what day of the week it is. You always have someone to go out with. There are always events to attend, whether it's live music or like bars or clubs. You're going out with your friends and at the end of the day, I think these experiences are still really important because I think, I've had a lot of opportunities open up to me personally because I've met a lot of people through this industry and this network. And I also enjoy it. So, yeah.
So I think like we were talking about like how the scene in the industry has a connotation of anyone that wants to get involved is kind of labeled in a negative way, like such as a degen or LB. I think that's one thing that we as a brand and I guess a business, we're trying to kind of re-educate into the scene. Like being a promoter, when you're in university, you're doing it for free. You do it because you want to give back to the scene, to the community, what they've given to you. I feel like when you go and you work in actual big event projects, the main reason why you want to be a promoter isn't so much to, get clout or, get attention. It's more so you want to be able to sort your friends and people around you with tickets because you have friends and people in the community that know that you guys both know you guys like going to events. So by organizing tickets, you're doing them a favor. You're kind of creating and contributing to the scene and like the community, which at the end of the day, it's just what everyone wants to do. If you're a part of this, like this industry, if you're a patron, you're a promoter, you're a graphics designer, you want to grow it because like by growing it, we can have better events, bigger events. By just like making the promoting system more involved and more simple and one-dimensional, such as, I sell tickets and I get commission. No, at No Sleep and at a lot of other different companies now, you can see that they're utilizing promoters a lot more, I guess, versatile. Like they're utilizing promo content, getting promoters to create like, organic TikToks. And that's like showing way more, I guess, conversion and like engagement than just simply asking, hey, do you want to get a ticket? And now that because the scene is growing, I feel like now because there's so many social media outlets such as TikTok and Instagram and Reels, there's so many cool ways and cool things that promoters do that they bring their own unique brand and characteristics to the scene. And the easiest way for them to do that is just by onboarding themselves as a promoter. Like one thing that HSU does really well is they don't have an active promoting team. What they do and what they kill it in is they have a specialized marketing company, a team, and they reach out to people in the industry that they know have an organic reach, and they would set them up as like a TikTok influencer. They'd give them a brief to create a specific content, and then once the content is organized and it's scheduled and they post it, they basically engage that person's engagement. And that's like a really cool thing that I think businesses and brands are doing now. It's like they're trying to revolutionize, they're trying to make promoting a more fun and enjoyable experience, because at the end of the day, if you don't have promoters, you're not going to really have a strong product, let alone a team. And I think that's what makes No Sleep really great. We're trying to, I guess, transform and, get rid of the stigma that being a promoter is lame. And it's like what degens do. No, it's actually fun. And I'm sorry you're not cool and you don't get it. We don't want you anyway. No. But it's honestly a great community. Like some of the new slogans we've been going by with our team is like, we want to be known as the community that is ran by the community. Like it's a community that runs events for the community. Like we want to ask what people like listening to, what type of trends they like overseas that they want to see us bring down. And that's kind of how we build the foundations of our products. Like some of our upcoming projects that we have been speaking about is seeing what people are doing in America right now, because the music scene over there, since EDC has blown up and TikTok's been like, covering it really well, is like sad boy EDM music. Like that is a space that I feel like Melbourne, Australia hasn't really touched yet. Sydney a little bit. Shout out to my boy Tony for Neotopia. That's great. But I feel like the scene's ready to evolve now. And, you're only going to be able to bring products, concepts overseas if you have a strong promoting team. And yeah, stay tuned. Big things to come. No sleep on top, baby.
On one last thing on event organizers, I think the stereotype, as a really clear example, when I first met my partner, he works as a doctor. And so for him, when he was working shifts until really late in the morning, and then we compare our work lifestyles, he was like, you just get to go out and drink and party all the time. And he didn't understand. And I think, it's, sure, we get to go out and, you're drinking with your friends, you're hosting people, but it's really hard. Like, it's not always that sometimes you do just want to, especially when you get older as well, like sometimes there have been nights where like I finish work on Friday at like 6 o'clock, you have dinner at 7 o'clock and you're like, I have to get ready and go out now until like 3-4 o'clock in the morning, and it's week in, week out. And I think, you know, it's very easy to be like, oh, you know, like you run events, it's really fun, it's really glamorous, but actually events is like, in like any other hospital gig, it's hard. It's the hours that you work, some of the people that you have to deal with sometimes, like there's a lot that goes on behind the scenes, I think, that people don't necessarily understand all the time. So I have a lot of respect for everyone who does work in the industry, because it's hard. Yeah.
I think as well, like if you really look at it factually, right, on any Friday, Saturday night, the most amount of drugs exist in a nightclub or an event. Like there's nowhere else outside of that. Like you can go to a bar, a karaoke, a nightclub. Nightclub's where it all goes down, right? A nightclub has the most amount of people trying to get laid and trying to get seen at any given time. So then you try to tell someone that that's the environment you work in. These people have 9 to 5s, they work in an office, they've got posturepedic chairs and shit, you know, ergonomic keyboards, and then you tell them, I work in a nightclub. They've all been to a nightclub. They know what goes down in a nightclub, right? Mm-hmm. Like, I think it is for them to decide whether they want to cast judgment on you. And, you know, you can be whatever the kind of person you want to be in a nightclub. I'm sober like 99% of the time. You know, like I in fact just love a good HSP. Like I'll get a HSP, walk it up the door, or fucking 20 pack chicken, I'll go, no, I'll have that. Right? Like, and I enjoy seeing an event come to life. And you can be whatever the kind of person that you want to be in that space. And I don't cast judgment on anyone that chooses otherwise as well. So for me, it's like when I tell someone that I work in that space, I actually just use it as like, it's almost like a litmus test. You see how they react to that. It's like if I rock up in a pair of trackies and you go, well, I don't want to do business with this guy because he doesn't know how to dress in a suit. And I'm like, that's perfect. I didn't want to work with you anyway. Right? So I think it's really good to just like, before like you mentioned the LG stuff, it's like just because someone dyes their hair blonde does not mean necessarily comes with the stereotypes of them being LG. You know, people might just say it online just for in jest, but the reality is blonde hair and long lashes does not necessarily entitle you to the rest of the stereotype.
Some of the smartest, hardest working girls I know, blonde hair, long lashes.
Shaz. Talking about Shaz here.
Shaz, wake up.
You started off kind of in the nightlife scene, now you're branching off. Take me on a journey where you are now and what's coming.
Well, I want to ask, when was your first no sleep experience? Did you go to I Love? Did you go ilovernb? Where do you want us to start the story?
If you say none of it, we leave right now.
Yeah. Pack up and we go. We're taking Shaz with us.
No, I went to I Love, okay, I did. Great, it's an accessible club, you know, right in the heart of the Melbourne
Convincing.
CBD. You know, have had a night or two there.
Did you take the staircase down or the elevator down?
I think it was
Did you roll down? I've had that experience.
Yeah. She lied, it's actually up. It's actually on the 3rd floor, not the basement. Yeah. Oh, that's awkward.
No, I did go. I have been a few times. I just can't remember. You guys haven't.
Tiana went to do a meeting with me so we can organise a podcast for the old nightclub, but she's never actually been on the night, have you?
I've been to. Guys, I have been to I Love. Let that.
You know what, Tiana? It's okay.
We can edit this out. Sorry, we'll edit
What's
it out.
the address?
We'll chop it out.
117
I have been. It's kind of. I'm not good with directions, Kat. So this is exposed.
It was like this place with 4 walls and a lot of Asians inside.
Yeah. No, but I've been. Trust me, guys.
No. We trust you.
We trust you.
Yeah,
I
we
think
trust
she had
you.
such a good night, she blacked out, didn't remember.
Yeah.
I had no sleep, you know. They're like another lame joke.
I should do this often.
My lame jokes, yes, it's a staple of all of the episodes.
You and Jubs can hang out there. I'll take it. I mean, we touched on it before about like how it was formed. You know, I was part of I Love R&B before I Love.
I love that club.
Yeah, and the I Love R&B. Yeah. I love that club.
I've had so many nights there.
Very
Yeah.
nostalgic
Yeah.
club.
Very.
Yes.
You're bringing me back, Eugene.
Yeah. You know, then and when that sort of disbanded, you know, we put together a new crew, and yeah, that place was sort of like home for me for a long time. And when the opportunity came up, I bought into the venue itself. So we're sort of invested there for quite a while, still am. And so the Key Club is one of the businesses in the portfolio. And we sort of tried with iLove for a couple of years. It was quite affected by COVID, just being on and off, and obviously a lot of competition in the time as well. And one day we sort of, we put on a lot of quirky nights, like a lot of quirky nights. We've done some real quirky, real
inflatable party.
We've done inflatable
Peking
parties
duck.
in there. We have Peking duck parties,
Chicken nugget party.
yum cha parties.
Wicked wing party.
Yeah, KFC party was one of my favorite ones as well. You know, we
Bingsu
collaborated
party.
with like subtle Asian traits and stuff like
Thanks,
that.
Jubs.
And
Disney.
you know, sometimes we turned one entire room into like we had 20,000 balls in a ball pit. We'll put arcade machines in there, like claw machines and stuff like that. We'd run like, little, back to Japan theme party. It was a lot of stuff in that room. And I guess ultimately we decided to wind the night down because we were just getting burnt out. Like 4 a.m. pancake parlors, like that was just wow. And to do it week on week was just a lot. I think we took a step back and we asked ourselves where it was I remember like it was quite a heavy moment because we put so much into the night. And we took a step back. I think the eventual pivot into hardstyle also was born out of COVID. We threw our very first party, we called Asteria, and this was at 524 Flinders in a warehouse. So we held it as a secret party. We told no one the address and everyone was just fucking dying to find out the address. Lucky for us, we were one of the crews that, we were the crew to be able to throw a party the quickest. The second Dan Andrew said, restrictions lift. We put together a party real quick. Within a day or two, we started hounding down
It was
venues.
4 hours.
Yeah, and we started releasing flyers and started selling out tickets. The other bigger boys, they couldn't work as quick, but we were just hungry. So we started selling out tickets real quick.
Big boys, you say.
Yeah, and I think we sold out that party without even a lineup. Did we do a lineup? We didn't do a lineup,
sold
yeah?
out the minute we released it because everyone was so hungry for the
And the thing
Yeah.
is, like, right now there's a really cool DJ called Colin Henners, who you may have heard of. He's gonna be he's played international.
Good old mullet
as well.
gang.
And that was his first, rave gig.
We gave him his first.
It was a TikTok DJ at the time. The kids were going, hey, why don't you get this guy to remixes and chucks fat hacks on TikTok? And we said, yeah, cool. And, he came on and he was a great kid and he just kept blowing up after that, right?
It's crazy how far it's come.
Killing it.
Yeah,
Killing
and even that brand Asteria went from like a 400 people party and it kept growing until I remember we threw like a 1,500 people party at Timberyard and that sold out in 1 hour.
Wow.
It was like
And-
20 minutes.
Yeah, or less. Yeah,
Yeah.
And the beautiful thing about that was that like you have a very diverse crew here that was like able to go beyond and adapt and have a show. So for example, that party, I got us a green screen recording of the Tweakers, a really big hardstyle duo, because no one could travel. And we tried to replicate the experience of a festival. So by putting them on a LED screen and matching a DJ desk with the DJ decks that they had in the studio. And so it almost looked like everything that they touched was actually affecting tracks that was being fed in. And for that, people, we sold that show out. That was insane. And that was just off literally the back of one of the restrictions being lifted. So it was still in the heart of COVID. But we were so quick to do it when all the other festival organizers couldn't throw a show together because they were just like, oh, we can't fly down the act. So everyone was around trying to figure out how to get around the restrictions of travel. But we just went green screen. And that was really how we started going, wow, our crew actually sells these a lot better than just R&B and usual weekly nightclubs. And these are so much more filling and they're so much more dynamic to throw. And we found that's where we really found the love for starting to throw like traveling parties. We call it like just little pop-up parties, like once a month. And we just said, you know what, we get to throw the parties when we want to, when we feel like it, where we feel like it. We're not stuck to one club every single Friday, and it's not, which is starting to feel a bit like a job. And that's when we started, giving birth to other brands like Base Horizon and stuff like that, where we just threw that the other week. And I think we had the biggest capacity that Melbourne Pavilion's ever recorded. So it's grown beautifully. And we just realized that at the really big picture, we are promoters and salesmen that sell what our customers are willing to buy. So we went from, effectively R&B nights to a bit of open format, like casual partying weekly, to just going sort of hard style, a bit of psytrance and a bit of whatever our customers are willing to take on. But ultimately, it's all about the experience, really. Yeah.
I like what you guys also said before about you want to kind of define yourselves as creating events for the community, but By the community.
For the community, by the community.
Thank you,
No
Michael.
sleep way.
No, but I love that because it does sound like you really listened to what the people want. And also the fact that you're thinking outside the box as well as to, okay, you have no limits. It's like, okay, if someone tells you no, you find a way to kind of still make it happen and make it work. And I think that's what people are drawn to. It seems like very authentic in that sense as well.
Well, I think, yeah, I mean, ultimately entrepreneurs get paid to fix problems, right? And if you can fix a problem no one else can, you'll get rewarded for it, you know? So, yeah, I guess we evolved into where, like, you know, our crew has evolved further into owning a share in the event space, the Promenade as well, which Lilly now champions. You know, and that was also born out of opportunity. That was also born out of COVID. That space is massive. We've got 1,300 square meters on it now, including maybe more, 1,500 square meters. It's crazy. It's just, you know, it keeps growing.
It's enough.
Yeah.
It's enough.
It's plenty.
It's
yeah.
enough.
I've been there too.
She has. I've
that
seen
one, okay,
photos.
she's vouched for it.
She
Okay,
has.
okay.
She has.
But yeah, like, you know, like they wouldn't take, landlords wouldn't listen to a couple of kids wanting to sign a lease, you know, that was that size. It's so big.
Actually, how did you convince people to take you seriously? Because
you dress down.
well, because I think you guys have kind of mentioned that the industry looked very differently, where a lot of nightclub owners or people in the space were like older men. How did you kind of convince to get funding and build and grow? How did you convince people that what you're making is going to be profitable?
Based, I think, like, you know, I'd obviously been doing this for a bit longer than the rest of the crew, so that's why I end up being the face with a lot of venues. It's relationship based. It's legitimacy. It really is it really is a small industry. So if you don't treat the people in the industry well, you know you're not respected, or you just really look for short-term gain, you will be frowned upon. You will be, you know, sort of secretly blacklisted or just not favored. The reality is, like, good relationships with your suppliers, good relationships with people you work with is really, really key. And I think that's why we start within our crew, and then that carries outwards as well. Yeah, it's really a bet on people, right? When they say, do I want to have this crew in to do this Saturday night versus the other crews, what am I going to really endure? You know, are they really just going to get loose and as a crew be really unprofessional to work with, or will they be a very enjoyable crew to work with that will bring me the numbers, be good in communicating, you know, all these values that we treasure ourselves, they will get as well. You know, and if they get the wrong crew in, even if they make slightly less money again with a crew that they enjoy working with, they'd rather do that than to have a crew that comes in super rowdy, doesn't communicate, isn't professional in their capacity, and just causes them more headaches. You know, and we get to be on both sides of the coin because we we have experiences of venue,
especially owning a venue now. It's like the first thing I do if a crew comes through and we don't know about them, the first thing you do is you call around and you're like, hey, have you worked with these guys before? Because yeah, like Eugene said, it's all about the relationship.
Yeah. So we I guess ultimately we put all the politics aside and we focus on just working hard, delivering the results, and just managing expectations, right? Like, and you know, anyone can say whatever they want to say. You know, if you're not getting haters, then you're probably not working hard enough. You know, but for us, we just let the results speak for itself. We keep working hard, we keep delivering results, and we try not to enter into situations where we feel like we won't be able to add value. So a lot of times you just look at money and say, oh, it's good money, I can just go into this. But if you're not going to add value to the situation, then realistically you should just remove yourself from it and just make money at a time when you actually deliver value. So yeah, it's just I think across those things we've navigated the waters quite well. Yeah.
And like that's like a lot of external but internally as well. I think it's been hard, but realistically we've had a lot of team members along the way who we've taken their feedback. We've taken their feedback on throughout, and that's been challenging. Like there's times where we could have just made decisions and it would have been good for the business, for example, but the team would have been impacted. But along the way we can say that we always I guess all stakeholders into consideration. What's going to work for the team, what's going to work for the suppliers, aka the venue, whoever it is. And when you have a really loyal team, a really hardworking team, you can do anything. And yeah, along the way we've had some really awesome.
We are very lucky to have the team that we have. Yeah, very,
Someone
very,
has
very
realised
lucky.
his pearl necklace, like his very nice pearl necklace. No one else realised the pearl necklace?
It's lovely.
It's from Thailand. It's awesome.
Shout out Thailand.
Thanks, Thailand.
lows, what kind of challenges have you guys experienced as a team, as a crew in nightlife, in entertainment? What type of challenges do you have?
I've been told I'm very annoying to work with. Yeah, I've been told that. Yeah, like by mainly.
I don't know who said that.
Yeah, I just copped that today. Apparently, I said, Lilly asked me to hold something. She's holding a lot of things, and I held her hand, and she said that was not sufficient. Apparently,
we were waiting outside my house today for Kat to pick us up, and I was holding like 3 bunches of flowers, like cake, my bag, a coffee. Like my hands were clearly full, and he was standing next to me, and I was like, "Hey, can you help me hold something?" And he's like, "Yeah." And my phone starts ringing. He comes over, and he holds my hand. Like I'm already holding all these things, and he just goes, "Yeah, here, I'll hold this for you." And my phone starts ringing, and I'm like, "You just."
W
He's just.
W Riz.
I can hold your hand.
Hey.
You're so funny.
Was he like, hey, that looks heavy? And then you're like, what? And like, your hands.
No.
I really should have.
So yeah, that's what he's like to work with. It's he's been away for a few weeks, and he came back and he's like, "Did you miss me?" It's okay. You can go back on holiday now.
The question was the highs and lows of no sleep. The highs, definitely anything Michael does. The lows, also Michael.
Michael, defend yourself.
Michael's grown a lot as a person.
He has, yeah. Oh, here we go.
I think maybe, so just to answer the question, the highs and lows, the thing with events is, and I've said this recently, like earlier this year too, what I experienced, and I think a lot of these other guys around me today, like now experiences, like when you run events, especially when you run them at the scale and the capacity that we do now, we've gone from doing weeklies, 400 people, now to doing one-offs for like 2,500 plus. The risk that comes with it, the adrenaline, just seeing your results and seeing the fruition of people promoting it, posting afterwards, you get like a really high adrenaline rush and like it's a lot of endorphins. But the truth is, when you're like in the pits and you're in the trenches and like you're trying to make something work, and like it involves like multiple negotiation, multiple calls with Eugene because he's like in Bali at some cafe working and like making a nice real TikTok, but then you got graphics in Melbourne trying to align it with their manager, making sure that they're happy with their press kit, that the flight's going to go on time. It gets pretty chaotic, and the great thing about, I guess, working with a team is like we're there to support each other. So even during the lows, we like myself personally, I kind of like voice out, I'm dying, I need help. Guys, sales, I need help. Oh, I can't do this. Like they always are there to back me up, support me, hop on a call. Like Shaz will call me one-on-one, make sure everything we're doing is tracking okay, because she works heavily in venue operations. So she's very, very like in the communications with the venues. And like when you run events, the whole relationship based, like Eugene said, it's all about relationship based. How well you communicate with venues, how quickly you reply to messages, how quickly you can solve problems. Just having a team there with you, one you can trust, work with, and just get you, will make any feeling, like anytime when you're feeling low, you'll just know you'll get through it. Like something we say is there's no problem we can't face as long as we work together and we know what it is. Because a lot of times before I like even like, complain, is I just start emotionally bawling out how I feel, and I'm not actually even telling them the problem. But the minute I bawl myself out for like 4 hours, message the group chat while I'm working my day job, like pulling out my eyelashes, at the end it'll be like, Michael, what's the problem? And I'll be like, the problem is sales aren't going good because we're missing this, that. Okay, cool, we'll get on it. And that's it. Like that's all I needed to do. But sometimes as a person, you just need a vent. Yeah, the high and lows are awesome. Honestly, you can't enjoy the high moments if you don't experience the low times. And you need to put effort and time into the low times, because that's really where the hard work is. It's where you make your product different, you make your team different, you create a special and different experience. And then once you know everything's ready and you launch and you see the event happen, you're standing there with all your partners and you're saying, guys, team photo. And we capture that moment and then we go back to the drawing board and do it over again, just for you guys. No sleep on top, baby.
I got a couple of juicy lows. When a night that you've put just endless nights into is sort of like nearing the end of its product life cycle, and there's nothing much you can do about it. We keep trying to put more and more effort into it. We sit around a table, we go, fuck, where are the table bookings? How many people do you think we're going to get this week? I think we've put it at the back of the memory. We haven't revisited that memory in quite a while. And we're like, guys, we need to fucking find out whose birthday is this in the community. We need to be like get them to come down. It was just raw hustle, like to keep a night going every single week. We've had it good for a while now. We just, put DJs on a flyer, and we have an amazing team that will sell. But back then we were the salespeople, right? Like we were the very embodiment of the night. We were on our phones 24/7, find out who was having dinner in the city. They could come out to the club after. It was just non-stop, right? Anything to get our numbers from like 300 in a club to 350 in a club made all the difference. Like then when they were in the club, we'd be about like, what was your retention like? How do you hold people in the club till 3 a.m? Like it was just like, to me, I think that was very, very, very stressful. I think that was ultimately what did us as a crew to stop running weeklies. It's fine. You can bow out like the competitors that still run weeklies and do a good job of it. It doesn't mean that we have to keep doing it. It wasn't for us in the end. I think that was one of the real lows. Another one actually happened very recently, which got our entire crew just absolutely fucking scrambling. And let me try and phrase this delicately. Yeah. It is. No, you can see it in his eyes. It's trauma revisited. This was probably one of the biggest, I would say, blunders we had in quite a while. We basically oversold because of a miscommunication. We oversold the amount of tickets that we were allocated to the Sydney Festival knockout, and we oversold by about $500,000. Yeah, it's so fine to say that we fucked up. We fucked up. Yeah, I mean, maybe not celebrate it, but we can say we fucked up, right? Like, I mean, it was a great fuck up. The reality is, like,
it's a good problem to have.
Well, I mean, I'd rather
a headache.
Maybe not again, right? Like, just one time is fine.
Wait. So knockout. How were you guys involved? Were you just involved from a sales perspective? Or?
Yeah, so we partner with HSU to move tickets.
Okay.
So basically, we like Michael has said quite a few times, we are the community for the community, and a lot of these people want access to tickets. So we become the promoting partner for HSU events. The reality is, like, we love being part of the community, and when these events drop, people do ask our promoters for tickets. We have over 300 promoters in our crew now, and that number grows every single day. So we are basically distributors for these tickets. So through a miscommunication, we actually oversold the amount of HSU tickets. Actually, in 3 days, in just 3 days, we oversold by $500,000.
That's like 2,500 tickets in 3 days.
It wasn't even days. It was like a matter of hours.
Yeah.
And
So
the team, just the speed that they moved at and went to collect, it was just, honestly, we didn't even expect this from our own team. I don't think our team expected it from themselves either.
Fucked.
And by the time you reach out to all 300, I think just under 400 actually, by the time it takes to reconcile just under 400 people, and then you realize, oh my God, we have a really big problem.
So I called,
we never experienced before.
Yeah, how did you have that
past.
conversation?
It was not a good conversation. I definitely got my asshole torn for like quite a few days. Like, it was not good. These guys, they had a lot of sympathy for me for like the next 2 weeks. They were just like very, very tender around me.
Very
I was
nice, yeah.
very, very nice. Nicest they've ever been to me. And
It was really
Hard.
sensitive.
It was an effort.
It would break out in tears. Like
I wouldn't. I could try. I can't do that. No one's made me cry in a long time. But anyway, it was just conversation going. When you fuck up, you fuck up. You've got to be able to just own it, right? And be like, hey, look, the reality is, like, I need that many more tickets. We couldn't get that many more tickets, and we had to go back. And I applaud every single one of our managers and team leaders and promoters for doing this, and even the partners that just was just administrative nightmare. Went back to every single one of the people that had, imagine this, they transfer the money to a promoter transfers that money to a team leader, who transfers it to a manager, who then transfers it to us, and it's got to go back all the way down the other way, and we have to go back the other way and say, hey, do you either want a refund, or you can pay another $20 or $10? 20, another $20, and we can get you a second release ticket or final release ticket with Knockout, because that's all we have at the moment, right? And we were facing so much backlash on the down low, right? They were like, what is this? I already paid for this. And we just had to cop it. Like, we did cop it. We tried to make good where we can, and we did everything we can. It was just mayhem and all that while trying to run your own events as well. I think value wise and like just the amount of like stresses everyone on the team from top all the way down to bottom was facing was probably, in my opinion, one of no sleeps like I wouldn't say like lowest points, but at the same time, it came out of the fact that we just did a fucking killer job. Like no other crew in Australia moved that kind of tickets, and not in 3 days. So it was kind of like yeah. So I guess I mean,
You're shooting everyone today, dude. I thought you said keep it chill.
I didn't shoot no one. I shot ourselves in the foot, maybe, if anything. Like we fucked up, didn't we?
No, but it just goes to show that like you can't have like businesses that are transparent with when they fuck up or when they have problems. I think are businesses that people are like, oh, they're transparent. I can then build trust with them because I know that if they fuck up, they'll hold themselves accountable for when they make the fuck ups or when they make the mistakes. I think you'd rather that than, you know, someone that kind of shows this fake facade that they're always amazing, always good. So
Tiana, have you ever had a F up in UA podcast before?
yes, of course.
She just cuts it out there.
Yeah. True.
On that note, I don't think they emphasized enough how terrifying that situation was, because a part of it is like, well, something like this can actually break our team. It's like we don't have $500,000 of cash flow. Like we're a team of like 6 in terms of partnership, and then it just the financial consequences or something like that, you know, the brand consequences or something like that. It's, can you ever come back from something like this? It's just, you know, there was definitely maybe a solid hour or 2 of just sheer panic of, oh my God, how are we going to fix this? And I think it's really easy to laugh about things now once you find the solution and everything's like, you know, it's okay now. And of course, you know, you want businesses to be responsible for their actions and to be authentic, but at the same time, it's really hard now. Like in this day and age, it's so easy to hop on social media and to, you know, just send in like the comments that someone makes, you know, whether it's leaving a comment, sending a DM, like, you know, posting screenshots, like talking about any business, whether it's big or small. It's so accessible. It's so easy to just say those words and get that out there. But then, you know, I think as a business, it's really hard to be on the other side of it, you know, and to, yeah, so it is really, really hard. And I think, you know, businesses that do try to, I think most businesses, most small businesses try to do the best that they can. Like, and I think at the end of the day, remember that, you know, a lot of these businesses, it is just a few people behind it and they are just trying to do their best. And at the end of the day, like, we're all human, everyone makes a lot of mistakes. But I think it is important to, you know, show, hey, actually, it's not always perfect. It's not always smooth sailing. There's a lot of bumps in the road. This is just part of the journey. And, you know, I really like learning about how other people and businesses overcome their challenges and everything as well. So I do think it is really important to talk about these types of experiences.
When was this? Was this last year?
This was like
It was like a couple of months ago.
yeah, 2 months ago.
Oh, it's
And,
very
like,
fresh. It's very fresh.
Fresh as.
And like realistically, like given that we're so community based, like I'd say like one of our biggest assets is our team. Like they're just so talented, crazy, they care so much, they do so much, and to be in a situation where you're telling them all, hey, you need to go to all your customers who you've built over the last 2-3 years, who come to you all the time, and tell them that you don't have a ticket for them.
Yeah.
It's like, I wouldn't want to be in that position, and we have to communicate it to everyone. We had a whole team meeting. We're like, guys, this is the situation. We're not happy about it either. We spent our own money as well just to buy more tickets, to get access to those first release tickets, just to like fix as many problems as we could. We offered like compensation in other ways, just because like our team is so important to us. But they took it like champions, which is awesome.
Yeah,
like
they killed it. Shout out to the No Sleep team. You guys are fucking killers.
We're like,
No
hey,
Sleep crew on top.
this is the situation, and they're like, shit, that sucks. Yeah, okay. And then literally like 3 weeks after, or 4 weeks after that incident happened, we launched Base Horizon, which was our second last event, and that gets to, you know, your question was what are the highs, and I think that's definitely been a high where you wake up the next day, well, at the event, firstly, you're there and you're like, holy shit, like, we did this. Like, this is amazing. Like, the vibes, the energy, seeing people smile, seeing a team there, and they're coming up to you like, oh my God, like, this is amazing. And then for it to continue onto the next day where you go on TikTok and it's trending, and literally people, not only your promoters, but people who aren't your promoters are representing your brand, shouting you out. Like, that's definitely been probably, you know.
Shout out to the community.
So many shout outs.
From the community.
Do we have our slogan? Do we?
Yeah, No Sleep on top.
It's just no and sleep.
And then what's on top?
You don't do that.
You gotta do it on top. You gotta tell them they're on top.
Do it again. Show it again.
That was good. Maybe that should be the
Do it
new
again.
one.
Do it again.
Do it again.
Review it for comment section. What do you guys feel? What do you guys feel about like this new no sleep, like what do you call it, like gang sign? No, like a little gif. Here, hold this. I'll try.
Do it. Secret.
No sleep on top.
I don't know, I feel like this part's too much, but
Yeah. It's alright. We'll work on it.
Before we continue, this is for the audience. Actually, according to the stats, 76% of viewers are not subscribed. So if you're not subscribed, please subscribe now.
oh yeah, you haven't even done any of those ad jobs yet. Logan Paul did like 50.
Thank you. You really are for the community, guys.
For the community.
We're all kind of in our 20s, except Eugene.
Fuck off.
He's 41.
I'll be real. Quarter life crisis is a real thing. And I feel like we've all kind of gone through that hurdle together and really shut up. No, you can't say anything. But you really marry into your business partners. It's a real thing. And we've all kind of witnessed each other's quarter life crisis to the point where I'll tell Eugene when my time of the month is, so he doesn't talk to me for a week because I can't emotionally deal with him. I don't even do that with my husband.
Calendar. It's in my calendar. It's like literally reminder. Catherine's time of the month starts tomorrow. Yeah.
Setting boundaries.
Yeah, there's a threshold.
Which is good communication, right? You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah,
like
it's
just
open.
when to know to send ice cream and when not to have ice cream. And,
Exactly.
you know, if she doesn't tell me and she's being irrational, then I'm like, why is she being irrational? I don't know. Like, it's, you know, but then I look, I know why.
And luckily, Lilly and Catherine, because they hang out a lot, they've synchronized. So yeah.
We did
They've synchronized with Catherine's.
actually sync. Yes.
I warned them it would happen. They didn't believe me. I said the alpha.
We're
the alpha
really getting
always synchronizes.
personal.
He tried to like start a competition out of it. He was like, but who sync to who? Like if you sync to Cat Cycle, it means Cat's the alpha and you're the beta. Then it like, why do you have to do that?
I read about it. It was in an article. I didn't make
still trying
that
to
shit
work
up.
it.
Sounds a bit
Toxic
toxic, hey?
Yeah, he's very toxic. Yeah, who tried to cause
confirm.
drama
Can
for
confirm.
fun.
But then you dominated her thing, so you actually caused the drama.
What thing?
You made her sing to your period. So that was very
don't even
very
know. Who
inconsiderate.
sings with who?
It was so inconsiderate. You put your foot down. You said these are my dates, and you put it in my calendar. You said these are my dates. You work around my dates, and she did, and now I'm the toxic one.
That's the title. No sleep. Period. Sinking.
How did we get here?
Yeah, how do we get here? We move on. Yeah, I think.
Quarter life crisis period.
Yeah, challenges. We were talking about
Challenges,
challenges. And I
Challenging
think
time.
you are married to your business partners and you have to understand their personal challenges as well as their business challenges and just be there for them, really. I've had chats with Eugene, Lilly, all of them cried. What am I doing? What am I doing with my life? Do I still need to do this?
I haven't heard those cries before. I'm expecting them.
I don't show vulnerability around Michael. Being in our 20s, it's really about discovering ourselves and working together to get to that end goal. So I think it's just a reflection just based on this conversation as well, based on challenges.
Mentee bees are normal.
Mentee bees.
Yeah, normalize that.
Normalize them. Slay.
That was a shout out to Claire.
Slay, slay, slay.
So thanks for being vulnerable with me and kind of delving into the lows that you've had. What's next? What's on the, okay, let's just say blue sky. Let's say there are no limitations. There are no limitations. We live in a world where tomorrow, if your dream for no sleep could come true, it would come true. What do you guys envision is part of that dream?
I feel the pressure.
I don't think we've had this chat as a team before.
I'll force my dream on the rest of them. I think that naturally at the moment, the way we're tracking, it is to continue to hold like bigger and better events. I think it'll reach a point where hardstyle as a genre is going to be quite saturated. We're quite adaptable. Again, as we said before, it's about creating events that our clientele and our database wants. There is no limit to that. It can be, sad boy EDM. It can be comedy shows for all it matters, right? Like the reality is these audiences get older and older. So I think it's for us, it's to continue to do research and continue to engage with the community and find out what they want to see, the experiences they want to go through. And if we've got to fly someone down from the States, from Europe, from Amsterdam to see that, then that's what we do. You know, we take the same skills that we have, which is creating events out of, you know, basically thin air, and we put it together. We find the right place to have it, we find the right person to have it, you know, and we sell it to the right people. Ultimately, on a really big picture, that's what we do.
Yeah, and like I think just continue to diversify, not be genre like we want to be like genre agnostic. So it's not just hardstyle only. Like when you go to like other events and stuff, you see people like dress up in like cool costumes or like different styles of clothes. I think if you go back into the hardstyle industry in Melbourne, like 3-4 years ago, everyone used to wear like all black and like stand in the corner and like stare at you. But you know, like we're slowly seeing the community develop where they're wearing like really quirky costumes and cool backpacks and onesies and I don't know what else do people wear at events.
They wear pajamas now. Like
Onesie.
I'm serious. They're into pajamas now. Like we just had Hard Nation last Friday, and then the security guard goes to our door, goes, "Hey, are we letting those guys in PJs go through?" We're like, "Yep." Yeah, it's just more comfy now. I think the younger gen now realize when they go raves, they just want to enjoy themselves, have a good time. They don't care so much about people's opinions anymore, which is really good. It's all about going back to like, you know, trying to re-educate the industry, get rid of the bad stigma. I think it's just like just on that, it's like crazy how the scene in the industry has changed. Like I've never seen an event happen in Perth before, and a few weeks ago a group of organizers called Transition just did like their first festival over there, and they just went straight out local strong headliners. They went with great production and they did like a full concept and built it in the staging, and it's just fantastic to see like the community getting behind that, because if they can do it, definitely this can be done like in other states like Queensland, like Adelaide, and yeah, Melbourne we got down already. But yeah, it'd be really keen to do something like that too.
What was your first event or first rave or first time at a club? Or maybe what was your first rave and what was that experience like? When did you actually like start falling in love with going to these events? Was it the first experience that you had, or?
Mine's really easy. I don't like going to clubs and events. Yeah, I really do not like. Yeah, it's like, for me, it's like, the music's good, but I feel like you could have better speakers at home. Like if you really tried, and often it's like, for a lot of places, it's like, it's sweaty, it's just crowded. So, but I don't like that. A lot of people do love the shoulder to shoulder. I'm just like, I need space.
He also like, he doesn't dance and he doesn't really drink. So when you take those out, what are you really doing in a nightclub?
Just observing, really. I'm really just observing everyone.
Have you seen that meme? Like, I am a surgeon.
He's been, there's times he's just hung out downstairs with the door girls and hid under the desk because he's just like done.
Yeah, Asians have this thing where they like, where they go to a bar and they like really try to bury you, right? It's like a fucking mission. I'm here with one mission, and my lifelong mission has always been to bury you and see you die, and like maybe hold your hair.
Are your friends that are trying to get you drinks?
Yeah, so bury you and like hold your hair while you vomit kind of vibes, right? Like I mean, I do it all the time. Like I'll hold your hair, you hold mine, right? But I don't have a lot of hair to hold. So, you know, it does, you know, like after a while become a game of like hide and seek, right? Real can you find me in the club?
So you've mastered how to dodge.
Absolutely. Like now that I'm sort of out of the game, I could probably reveal my secrets for a price.
Yes. Can you actually show, like, how do you dodge drinks?
Did you not see earlier today how you poured everyone a drink and he excused himself to
the
go
bathroom?
To the bathroom?
Yeah, so 50-50 most of the time you forget about me and then life goes on. In a club, you 100% will forget about me, and generally you wait for when they're distracted, probably paying for a round of shots or something, and then you just turn around and leave.
You know that Homer Simpson meme, into the bushes?
Yeah.
Yeah, he'll just like dance.
The bar's like, you know, 4 deep, and I turn around and I just leave.
The crowd.
Yeah, and you ain't chasing me through the crowd. You got a round of shots at the bar. You ain't chasing me through the crowd, right? And you'll probably forget about me by tomorrow as well, just like how you forgot about where you were and whether you've been to the club or not. You know, like it just goes away. The other one is you drink it, but you sort of like miss to the right. So someone behind you cops the tequila, but
There's a bit of collateral damage.
Yeah, but you know that you sort of and then as they're all doing it, you just sort of like, woohoo, you know. Don't forget to suck on the lemon when you're done and put on a face, because otherwise it's like you like obviously
you gotta commit to the part.
You know, do that. And there is another one, but you got to know the bartenders. When just have a favorite drink, like a tequila, and when they pour like tequilas, no one ever looks at a bartender pour shots. They're always chatting to each other at the bar. Get one shot of apple juice with it. It sits somewhere and the bartender will hand it to you. Just tell them you're driving. Most bartenders have sympathy for someone driving. Yes, I'm driving, I can't do it. And they're like, oh, good. And 6 tequilas, 1 apple juice. You take that, you drink it, put your face on. Yeah, but I'm retired now, so.
POV, you're about to devour restaurant quality xiaolong bao made with the best local ingredients right in the comfort of your own home. The Dumpling Company is a family-run business that makes a range of mouth-watering dumplings with love, frozen for convenience and delivered straight to your doorstep. They're offering our listeners a free pack of traditional xiaolong bao that's 30 pieces, baby, when you use the code UADUMP. They'll deliver every Wednesday around Victoria, and you can find out more about their range on www.thedumplingcompany.com.au. Why not enjoy your new favorite dumplings while you listen to your favorite podcast?
And the other solution is, so many times over the years, I've been standing next to him and he's like, please take this. And I'm like, yeah, right. And I'd say like transition into like, he doesn't like clubbing, but where he dodges drinks, I roll the other way and dove head in. I'm like, every time someone offers me a drink, I'm going to fucking drink it. And because I love clubbing. No, I love people. I love events as well. I don't know. I'm like a 95% extrovert, so seeing people gives me energy. So, yeah.
What was your experience? What first experience then?
Oh, no, don't worry. I don't remember. Legally, I cannot say.
Lame. All right, so my first experience was I actually never went out during high school. Like I was very sheltered. I had a nanny. My 2 brothers and I, we just played League of Legends and watched Foxtel all our high school life. That probably affects why I'm kind of the person I am today. But my first night out officially was at a university event at Crown. It was one of the EOXs and they had Danny Rael. And then I met some naughty people there and they invited me out the next week to this place called Sanctuary back at room 680. So shout out to the Evo boys for running that because that was actually my first night that I attended. And then I just loved the music. And then the people you meet, like I saw them the next day at my local library doing work. And they're like, oh, yo, aren't you like, don't you go to like Haileybury, which is like a private school? Like, I saw you in the weekend at that place. I'm like, yeah. He goes, do you want to go again this week? I'm like, yeah, I do actually. Let's go. And then I went out with them. And then I think that was like my first clubbing experience at Sanctuary Room 680. And my first big festival was with my best friend at the time in first year uni, the event called God's Kitchen. And that was like the last God's Kitchen. So I got better to go. And yeah, just the production, the stage, and like the amount of people in there was like absurd. It was so crazy. And then I think after I kind of experienced that, I realized I want to like be in the community. And like I saw a position or like an opportunity joining like a university club. And then they ran events, which kind of gave like the same vibe. So that's how I kind of like, I guess, got into the industry or got into Aussie. Those are my first events.
Did you guys remember when your first event was?
Alhambra. We used to go Alhambra a lot.
We did used to go to Alhambra. I think the initial exposure was through uni clubs as well. When you start organising events, but I don't think I think I really love the events industry as a whole. So everything from like, venue side management to the team to ops to AV, everything, like putting it together. Because I mean, most events are, it's a day or an evening where you're getting together with friends or you're meeting new friends, and it forms a lot of really core memories for a lot of people, or you're out to like celebrate certain things and things like that. So I think that's what I really like about the industry, and it's been consistent over the last 5-6 years.
Okay, so I have one last question that underpins the heart and soul of this podcast, which is what makes you guys unapologetically Asian?
My love preference. Is that unapologetic Asian? Like, you just date Asians?
Say what you, 100%. Say what you feel.
Is that
Yeah, don't worry about it. Just if it's wrong, we just edit it out. Yeah, 100%.
Can I say I just love
Safe
Asians?
space.
As unapologetic Asian? Like, I just
Yeah.
love...
Yeah.
You see, like, it doesn't feel like 100%. It doesn't feel like it.
Say it. All right, I'll go first. I have a story. For me, so I grew up in Dandenong, and I grew up playing football. And, like, the teams that we used to play with, there was a lot of, like, there weren't many Asians in that area. And, like, growing up, I'd play football, and then one time I got bashed for being Asian. And I went home and I started crying. And my brother, I was like 13, all right? I didn't cry. And brother's like, oh, why are you crying? I'm like, oh, I got bashed for being Asian. He's like, okay, well, you can either cry and quit football or go and train and be better and never let anyone do that to you again. And I'm like, okay, cool. So then I went out there. My teammates were all like ethnic as well. And it ended up being a situation where if anyone was ever racist on the football field, we would just straight up get into punch-ons with them. And I know it sounds like childish, but effectively that started this catalyst of like being proud of being Asian and always fighting for like being proud of being Asian. It like that, I guess, like started a fire in me of like, okay, I would like always be proud to be Asian. I would never tolerate racism towards Asians ever. And then after that, I moved to Melbourne High School where there are a lot of Asians, and I started being surrounded by a lot of cool Asians who had different like backgrounds but similar experiences, where I was able to learn more about like our culture. I spoke to my parents about who we were, where we came from, our history. I started like learning about history, about China and like all that stuff, and I realized that all of those experiences that we experienced as a child, like going to school and eating noodles, and people were like, why are you eating worms? Like you get to 18 and you're like, no, everyone loves Chinese food. And then on top of that, you go to uni and you're surrounded by lots of great people, but then in our communities lots of great Asians, and you start seeing, I guess, the traits of our community that you really love, like hard work, being respectful, and just generally like succeeding, being like high functioning degenerates, no chicks, but just being like, I guess, good people who are hardworking. It's something that you become really proud of, and so it's something that is really important to like my identity of like being Asian.
I think for me, I'm probably the most unapologetic about having an Asian mom. So she's like fully supportive, even when she wasn't like for me doing events. She would always like stay up late at night, making sure I got home safely. Even though I told her it's good, mom. Like I'm just going to my nightclub. I'll be home at 4. She would still be awake just to make sure I was home okay. And if I was late, then she'd kind of just shoot me a message, and I'll be like, yeah, I'm at Dragon, or I'm eating like Ming Shui with like the crew. But yeah, like she always supports me, even like the stuff with helping me do pays. She never doubts me. She never says no. Like she always says, like say, hey, do you have to do it? Are you sure it's what you want to do? But she'll never like fully stop me, because she knows how passionate I am about this. At the same time, whenever like I tell her something I'm doing in the event scene, she's always like getting behind it, even though I know 100% she knows nothing about it. Like I'll be like, babe, oh shit. No. I'll say, mom.
Clipping that in. We're clipping that.
Like, do you think it's because Ali and your mum are so similar, and you found a girl that just resembles your mum and all the values and traits that your mum has?
Actually, people say that. They say you marry
True.
like your mum or your dad.
You've basically found your mum in like a 25-year-old body.
No, but when I told my mom stuff like, oh mom, we booked Disturb, she was like, oh that's great, honey, good job. I'm like, mom. She'd be like, oh, you don't understand, mom. Like there's gonna be like a sad event. She goes, yeah, I can't wait to see it. I'm like,
Didn't she say, yeah, I can't wait to work door?
No, she doesn't. Yeah. So I'm super appreciative for my Asian mom, because she's like super supportive, and she never says no, when I know a lot of Asian moms out there probably would say like no. But you did it, mom. I love you. Is that
Yeah, there's no wrong answer.
thank you.
It was
You
good.
started with that. I would have said it in confidence the whole time.
No,
It's good.
I think
You
my
did
point's
good. Michael,
actually
you-
very similar to Michael and Jubs's. It was also about actually like my family and the work ethic that I feel like my parents have passed on to me. Yeah, I think that that's something that is very deeply ingrained and shows through all the things that we do, and I'm very grateful for that. So yeah.
I love it. Like the Asians that I know, I'd say like we work hard. We work harder than anyone else, and we party harder than anyone else.
I think that's, the work ethic is definitely passed on. It comes from a place of like, where they never understood what, simple things of mental health like depression or anything was. Like a cure for depression was to work a second job, right? Like if you have time to be sad, maybe you should try not having time, then you won't be sad, right? Like, so I think part of that when you sort of marry that with modern concepts of like mental health and stuff, you really get this product of like having a pretty insane work ethic, to make sure that you sort of never leave anything, you know, on the table with yourself. But obviously understanding your own boundaries as well in modern day, like that you can't push yourself that hard and expect to sort of come out of it sane. So I do find that even for me as well, I definitely went to hell and back, like with sleeping, you know, like 3-4 hours a day, eating a ton of like modafinil, just trying to like milk the shit out of yourself. Like, you know, I mean, it was cooked, right? Like I was running the nightclub while I was at uni doing 2 degrees, in law and commerce, and then, you know, DJing at the same time as well. And I didn't take time off during exams. Like, you still got to make your money. You still got to be consistent. You still got to be available and show up for the people that show up for you. It wasn't until I finished uni that like I really sort of like, wow, I am like, my body is like breaking down. Like I was sick like every second week. And then COVID came around and I was like, whoa, like you stay indoors, you get rest, and you like don't get sick. That's like crazy. Like, that's like, what do you mean? Like, you're not as moody and you can think awesome and you have breakfast on Saturday and Sunday. Like, that's crazy, right? And then, so then now we call ourselves Sleep a Bit Entertainment. we're in the midst of like rebranding our hoodies and stuff.
You'll have to rebrand that little motion that you did before as well.
Sleep 8 hours. Yeah, 8 hours sleep is our new crew.
Yeah.
I remember the first time you went to brunch on a Saturday morning. You called me and you were like, "Is this what going to breakfast feels like?"
Yeah,
and it was like a proper full like moment of realization for him. And I was like, "What do you mean? Have you not? When was the last time you went to brunch?" And he's like, "I haven't been to brunch in like the last 4 or 5 years." And
it's like a quarter life crisis. I sat through all of their quarter life crises. They would sort of like sit me down and be like, "I'm at a crossroads, this and that."
Because he's a bit older.
Yeah, I am. So I'm like a pillar of support. But I had my own quarter life crisis as well when I went and got a coffee for the very first time on Saturday morning. It was like during COVID, I was like, wow, I'm going to use my 5 kilometers or whatever to its full, full potential. Went and got a coffee and I was like, got breakfast, and I was like, it's not even 10 a.m. Like, what do you mean? I've got the rest of my day. Like, and then it happened again on a Sunday. I was like, yo, this is
revolutionary.
Yeah, what do you mean you eat and then you've still got the entire day ahead of you? This is like so weird. And then that really like just fueled how much I like really didn't like being out late. And then health became a thing, which never really was. Yeah, it was like, if you get sick, take some Codral, take some Pseudos, and then take Xanny when you want to sleep, Modafinils when you want to be awake, and now it's like, hey man, rest, health, food, it's crazy.
It's natural, right? Your priorities shift and change as you get older.
A big statement, and a bit biased maybe. But I think being Asian, being in the Asian community and seeing us grow and seeing all our friends, we have one of the most supportive communities there is out there. And I have to say, like, growing up in, the western suburbs and stuff like that, I don't think I really, and we spoke about this before, like, you don't really embrace your culture and your race until I actually went to uni and joined the uni clubs. And that's when I found that sense of community. And that's why I was in a uni club for 3 years. And then post that, we built this brand. It's just the most rewarding and supportive community ever. And, when we throw an event, all of our friends come down and support. The Promenade did, a first birthday. We've ran I Love reunions. And it's just so nice to see everyone who has supported you from the start and are still supporting you now. So it is a big statement, but I think it's, upon reflection, it's something that we've all seen all together. Yeah.
Asian food as well. Asian food.
I was going to say that too. Asian food, hands down,
so
best
superior,
food.
right? Like what's Aussie street food? Does it even exist? Like, I don't like a dim sim, right? A bunning snag. I mean, it's just like, but Asian street food, man.
So good.
Asian food is just,
Also, traveling to Asia is cheap.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And delicious.
You get better food for less. And then here, if you're lucky, you get like a Parma or something. Like,
fine dining.
It's just how many ways can you make a tartare, right?
Yeah.
Well, we're all feeling very wholesome now, and thank you so much, you guys, for spending more than 2 hours chatting. It's been awesome getting to know you guys and understanding how your business works. Where can listeners find out more about No Sleep? I know you're very excited, in particular, Michael, to talk about this. He's a promoter and salesman at heart. Let's go.
Why should people join No Sleep? Go.
The best. I think I just want to say thanks to the UA podcast team for bringing my team and myself out tonight. Honestly, it's been something we're looking forward to. And I think what you guys are doing right now, creating, I guess, a platform for local Asians to kind of spread a bit of like, experience and life stories is a great way to kind of like spread this new generation for local Asians. I think the main message I want to kind of like communicate out as a closing message is if you're interested or you have any, feelings that you want to get into this industry, like, you like the music, you want to explore, it is an easy industry to get your foot in. All you need to do is reach out and contact people from someone inside the organization. If you're a graphics creator, content creator, graphics, media person, or you just want to understand a bit more how promoting events and organizing events seem, feel free to reach out to No Sleep Entertainment on Instagram or shoot any of us a direct message, and we'll love to give you an opportunity to help you understand how this whole amazing industry works. And the truth is, you might find some new friends and you might find a new sound that you like. No sleep on top, baby.
Let's go.
Yeah, that's good. To expand on that as well, I think we don't just look at promoters and a sales team. We actually look to cater to people's career paths and where they want to go as well. Like, we've had a junior graphics designer come on board with us, and we've given him the opportunity, Annie. Love his work, and we're helping him grow his skill set. We've had Viv, who's come in on the marketing team as well, where she wants to understand more about marketing, and that's a skill set that I obtained that I can kind of educate her and all of us. So it is, yes, we love our promoters, but there is also growth opportunity with us as well that's outside of just ticket sales and promoting the event. So we are for the community.
Yeah, you can be anyone, a promoter, a DJ. If it's something you guys want to get into, reach out.
Yes.
That's the whole reason why we also created like the No Sleep agency, to help artists in the local scene have a platform, get some assistance with their workshop, with their branding, and help them get their first set. And yeah, so if you're a DJ too, holla at your boy.
Yeah.
Speaking of events, is there any events upcoming that you want to...
Take it away, Michael.
Yeah, definitely. Thank you for the microphone, Tiana. So if you guys haven't heard already...
You were already holding it?
You're right.
Just watch him walk out the door with it.
So
that's got to stay here, yeah?
Yeah, definitely. So thank you so much to the community. Hard Nation 1.0 was killer at the Key Club. Honestly, the concept was something that we thought about doing very quick turnaround time to kind of like create a concept and a product for like the university EOX scene. But seeing the response from the community, it is something that we are now growing to potentially do something like a monthly. We have GPF on the 27th of August, and it's basically sold out online, but we are going to get extra capacity. So if you missed out, check real soon. August the 19th. So GPF is dropping August the 19th at third day. If you don't...
It's dropped.
It's almost sold out.
It's sold out.
So GPF is dropping. So our next event, GPF, is dropping on August the 19th at third day. If you don't already have your tickets, make sure to check the website or DM myself for $65 hard copy tickets. We just got increased capacity. So if you did miss out on online tickets, head over soon because we are going to release some more. No sleep on top, baby.
You're going to make this so fun for me to edit.
Yeah.
I'm like, is he having a stroke or what? But it's a safe space. It's all right.
Yeah, we do have a lot of events planned for the rest of the year. I think it's one of the first few times in No Sleep history where we have planned out the rest of the year, which is pretty cool. We have some really cool acts coming down, but we also have some really cool concepts we want to bring to life. We could bring back like the hidden warehouse parties. Our general consensus with the crew is we try to throw unique parties. We try to take our crowd to venues that they haven't seen parties before. Just because, who wants to do the same thing every single time? You already go to work Monday to Friday. Why go to the same crews throwing the same parties every single week? Why not go to a new venue? Why not explore? Why not come on a journey with us and see where else we can host parties, right? Like, so that's really where it's at. So we've got pretty much events planned out for the rest of the year till right through December. Already working on some really big 2024 ones. So it'll be juicy. Yeah.
Ooh, watch this space.
That's it.
Exciting. Well, thank you so much to you guys at home for listening. If you got through this very long, but fun chat, good chat. Thank you so much for listening. If you like what you listen to, you can follow or subscribe to us on your favorite podcasting platform. Follow us on our social media. We're on TikTok and also on Instagram at Unapologetically AZN. Yeah, hope you enjoy the rest of your day or night. Sending love and good vibes to you all at home. Bye.
Yay!
Dude, we did that in one take. That's